Have you ever noticed how the people who seem most stressed are often those who take everything deadly seriously? What if I told you that one of history's wisest judges solved his most complex cases not by being stern and rigid, but by embracing lightness and humor? Meet Ōoka Tadasuke, an 18th-century Japanese magistrate renowned for his unconventional wisdom. While other judges relied on harsh punishments and rigid interpretations of law, Ōoka understood something profound. Sometimes the greatest wisdom comes from not taking ourselves too seriously. His approach wasn't careless or frivolous. It was strategically light-hearted, using humor and perspective to cut through human foolishness and reveal deeper truths. Today, we'll explore how his playful wisdom can transform how you handle life's pressures and conflicts. A wealthy merchant named Hayashi arrived at Ōoka's courthouse in a state of absolute fury. His expensive silk kimono was wrinkled from sleepless nights, and his hands shook with indignation. "Judge Ōoka," he declared dramatically, "I demand justice. My neighbor Kenji has committed the most heinous crime. He has stolen my laughter." The courtroom fell silent. Even the scribes looked puzzled. Ōoka raised an eyebrow with genuine curiosity. "Please, explain how one steals laughter." "Every morning, Kenji practices his terrible singing while I try to conduct serious business meetings in my garden. His ridiculous voice makes my clients laugh uncontrollably. They can't take me seriously anymore. My reputation is ruined. I demand you silence him immediately." Kenji, a humble potter, bowed nervously. "Honorable judge, I only sing while working. Music helps me focus on my pottery." Ōoka stroked his chin thoughtfully, then did something unexpected. He chuckled. "Hayashi-san, show me how Kenji's singing disrupts your meetings." "I cannot. It would be undignified." "Then, Kenji, please demonstrate your morning songs." Kenji hesitated, then began singing a traditional working song. His voice was indeed comically off-key, wavering between notes like a confused bird. Several people in the courtroom began smiling, then quietly giggling. Ōoka listened carefully, nodding seriously as if evaluating the finest court music. When Kenji finished, the judge announced his verdict. "Hayashi-san, I find Kenji guilty of providing free entertainment that brings joy to the neighborhood. As punishment, Kenji must continue singing, but only after Hayashi's morning meetings end. And Hayashi-san, since you've been deprived of laughter, you must spend 1 hour each day learning to sing with Kenji." The courtroom erupted in laughter, including, eventually, both men. This tale perfectly embodies a profound truth that the ancient Greek philosopher Democritus understood deeply. Life without festivity is a long road without an inn. Democritus, known as the laughing philosopher, believed that cheerfulness and perspective were essential for navigating life's complexities effectively. What Ōoka demonstrated wasn't frivolity, it was strategic wisdom. By refusing to take Hayashi's complaint with the same deadly seriousness that the merchant brought to it, the judge revealed the absurdity underlying the conflict. The merchant had become so invested in his image of importance that he'd lost sight of what actually mattered: genuine human connection and the simple joys that make life bearable. Democritus taught that happiness comes not from external circumstances but from our inner disposition and perspective. He argued that those who find reasons to laugh and maintain lightness of spirit are better equipped to handle genuine challenges when they arise. This isn't about avoiding responsibility or being careless. It's about developing the emotional intelligence to distinguish between what deserves our serious attention and what simply reflects our ego's desperate need to feel important. Consider how this applies to modern life. How often do we find ourselves stressed about things that in 6 months we won't even remember? The colleague who didn't respond to our email quickly enough, the perfect Instagram post that only got moderate engagement, the minor social awkwardness that we replay endlessly in our minds. We take these moments so seriously that we rob ourselves of the joy and clarity needed to address genuine challenges. Ōoka's approach reveals something crucial. When we stop taking ourselves so seriously, we often become more effective, not less. Hayashi's rigid attachment to his dignified image actually made him appear foolish. Meanwhile, Kenji's simple, unpretentious approach to life, singing while working, finding joy in daily tasks, created inadvertent happiness for others. The judge's solution was brilliant because it addressed the real issue: Hayashi's disconnection from simple human joy. By requiring him to learn singing from Kenji, Ōoka prescribed exactly what the merchant needed: a daily dose of humility and playfulness that would gradually dissolve his excessive self-seriousness. This wisdom becomes especially powerful when facing genuine difficulties. People who maintain perspective and lightness aren't avoiding problems. They're approaching them from a position of emotional strength rather than anxiety-driven reactivity. They can think more clearly, communicate more effectively, and find creative solutions that rigid thinking would never discover. Democritus believed that the person who laughs appropriately at life's absurdities develops a kind of philosophical immunity to petty frustrations and ego-driven conflicts. This doesn't mean becoming callous or dismissive of real suffering, but rather developing the wisdom to recognize when our stress comes from taking temporary situations too personally. The next time you find yourself caught in a situation that feels overwhelmingly serious, ask yourself, what would this look like from Ōoka's perspective? Often, you'll discover that stepping back, finding the gentle absurdity, and approaching the situation with lightness actually opens up possibilities that heavy seriousness would never reveal. Remember, the goal isn't to become careless, but to become wise enough to save your serious energy for what truly matters, while finding joy and perspective in everything else. Think of one situation in your life right now that you've been taking too seriously. Share in the comments how you might approach it differently with Ōoka's wisdom, and don't forget to like this video if it helped you gain a new perspective. Sometimes the most profound wisdom comes wrapped in the simplest laughter.